I was just thinking of the first sculpture I ever saw. It was this huge sculpture in Copenhagen, and I just stopped dead still. I was only 10 years old, but I knew it was important. My grandmother said I should be a painter like her, but I just couldn't get enough paint on the canvas to sculpt it, so I just turned to clay. In school, even though I've got a painting degree, I spent all of my spare time studying sculpture. By listening to the story, I get an idea of what the personality is like, and I really want to sculpt the personality more than just the anatomically correct person. It's that spark of vitality and that everybody has that I really is my subject. I've got the pose in mind, then it's relying on my knowledge of anatomy and the way the body moves to help me create that in clay. I also needed to balance what he became with where he started. And he had had such a rough beginning, so I made his sweater really rough. So I wanted to tell the whole story of this person in one statue. So I've got the rough sweater. He began with very poor beginnings and had to walk a long way to get to his part-time job, which was caddying at the local golf club. And then he showed promise as a golfer, and the members of the club started helping him, and then he took it from there. So he started from rough beginnings, which is shown by the roughness of the sweater, to this really slick, successful, not only golf professional, but also a businessman too. Then I call in the mold maker, and he comes to the studio and sets up for the mold. And then he puts the rubber all over the clay, sealing the clay with the first coat of rubber, and then applies successive coats of rubber till he builds up about maybe a ½ inch of rubber. And then he goes on with a plaster mother mold on top of the rubber. And so the wax is layered into the mold so that you have uniform thickness of the wax, because it's the wax inside a ceramic mold that will be melted away, thus giving it its name, lost wax. And once it's melted away, the cavity where the wax was, that is where the bronze will go. And I go over each one of the wax pieces of the sculpture and make sure that it looks the way I want it to look. And I get to resculpt, and I have a very soft wax that I use for this, and I'm looking for air bubbles that might disrupt a form. I'm looking for a fold of cloth that needs to be made richer or fuller. And I'm also looking at the face and the portrait to make sure that the eyes and the nose and the lips are as well sculpted as they can be. The bronze process is a labor-intensive process. There are a lot of people who are going to have their hands on the bronze sculpture by the time it's a finished piece of bronze sculpture. There's the mold maker who's making the mold, then there are the wax people who are pouring the wax into the mold. And then once it is poured into bronze, there are all the metal chasers. Before they knew how to carve marble, they knew how to pour bronze. And when bronze is molten, it glows like the sunshine. And it's just a whole cruet full of sunshine going into the molds. I've sculpted 4 life-size statues on the Cedartown Walk of Fame. I'm just about to start the 5th statue, which is the armature behind me, and then the 6th statue is Edgar right here. And there's this little creeping sense of sadness that this project is kind of coming to an end. And I guess that my work is so intense, and that intensity is just oh, it's just wonderful. And but there's always a little sadness when the project is going to be over, and I have a little grieving process that I have to do to kind of say goodbye to this project and say hello to a new project. But always a little sadness. It's bittersweet when I finish up a project, because I've just come to know these people so well, and they've been my best friends and my sort of my living companions for the last 2 years, and I'm going to be saying goodbye to them soon. Not quite yet, but in another couple of months.